Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and this is a vlog of my late autism and ADHD diagnosis experience. I'm probably going to keep this video pretty short. It's been a really long week. At the beginning of the week, the Pacific Northwest, where I live, had a heat wave, which was really, it's kind of interesting to me because I grew up in Texas and I grew up where the summers would get to 99, 100 fairly regularly. But up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's a little different because, for one thing, we don't have heat that it doesn't get up to that. And when words, I told you I'm really tired tonight. I'm not going to edit because this is how I communicate sometimes, and I try to normalize autistic speech. For one thing, when I'm talking in Fahrenheit, which hopefully is pretty obvious by using numbers like 98 and 100, but just to clarify. But secondly, up here in the Pacific Northwest, it doesn't get that hot very often, so we're just not acclimated to it. And when you go from the weather being like 85 degrees for a couple days, and then it just jumped up to 102, 103 on Monday and Tuesday, that's a pretty big jump, and we're just not used to it. And I'm very thankful and lucky that I have air conditioning in my house, but a lot of the houses in this area were not built with air conditioners in them because up until the last 10 years, the summers just never reached that hot. It would, high 80s, low 90s for just a couple of days was as hot as it would get. So I've been living here now for 11 years. I'm not used to the heat anymore. And so Monday and Tuesday being that hot really took a lot out of me, even in the air conditioning, because I had things that I needed to do out of the house. And every time I left the house, it was just extremely draining. People with POTS, P-O-T-S, and I cannot remember what POTS stands for. It's postural something tachyardy, I'm not even going to try it, syndrome. Which is really common for a lot of autistic people, struggle with heat. Heat makes the symptoms of that really more prevalent. I don't think I have POTS, but I feel like I might be subclinical, or I do have some of the symptoms of it. It's not something I'm currently pursuing a diagnosis for. I do think my son has it, and we are pursuing a diagnosis for him. But yeah, when it gets hot, I get overheated in a way that's different than like an average person. Like it hits differently for people with POTS. I get more lightheaded and dizzy. I have to be really careful, drink lots and everybody I know gets overheated and has to drink water, but people who have sensitivities to the heat, it's just more extreme. Anyway, my kid is also in a summer camp in Portland this week. And so I live in Vancouver, Washington, which is just across the Columbia River from Portland, Oregon. If there was no traffic, it would take me like 20 minutes to drive to Portland. But because the way the streets are designed, we call it bridge traffic, and to cross the bridge to get into Portland can make something that should be a 25-minute-ish commute, 25 minutes. It can take an hour. And so I'm driving to drop my kid. So his camp actually got canceled Monday and Tuesday because of the heat wave, because people up here just are not used to the heat. Like I said, when I grew up in Texas, I was a camp counselor, and we had camp and it was 100 degrees. So you wouldn't have camp if you canceled it when it got that hot. You just had to deal with it. But up here, they canceled camp on Monday and Tuesday. And I do have a point to all this. The sensory of the extra heat plus the sun just being so bright and driving takes a lot. It's a sensory experience plus an executive functioning experience. So I'm doing more driving this week than I normally have, in just 2 days of it too, Wednesday and today's Thursday. But driving to drop my kid off, then coming back home, and then if I had to do any errands that day, and then driving to pick them back up, drive back home. So my sensory overwhelm has been really high today. I mean, this whole week, because of heat. The sun has just been intensely bright, and then driving. And I had this really big aha moment today at dinner, and I really want to share it because it seems like it probably should be obvious, but I just put it together. Actually, my kid helped me point it out, my teen. This week, I have been struggling with spicy food. So with a lot of autistic traits, you have hypo or hyper. So a lot of autistic people just generally often prefer bland, same foods. Just, they have a lot of food sensory issues. I tend to be a sensory seeker with food. I like my food to have a lot of texture, a lot of flavor. I like spicy food. That is one area where I'm usually a sensory seeker. Well, this week, suddenly, things have been too spicy for me. Things that I normally eat, the spice level that I normally have, I'm like, I can't eat this. It's too spicy. And yesterday, I had a spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's, which I don't go out to eat very often, but I actually do like their spicy chicken sandwich on occasion. And because of all this driving around, the timing got way off, and we just stopped to pick up dinner on the way home, and I got the spicy chicken sandwich, and I couldn't eat it all. It was making my mouth feel like it was on fire, and I'm like, I've never struggled to eat the sandwich before. It's usually it's the only thing I ever order from Wendy's. That's another, I'm going to do this side tangent because it's hilarious. I don't know if Wendy's are everywhere around the world, but Wendy's are known for having square hamburgers. And they do this because they say it's less waste on the beef because they don't cut corners or something. I don't know. I think that was their marketing campaign when I was a kid. When I was an undiagnosed autistic kid, square hamburger on a round bun made no sense to me. I hated the idea. I would not eat a Wendy's square hamburger. I thought it was just absolutely appalling. Would not do it. So to this day, I've never eaten a Wendy's square hamburger, and I'm just not going to do it. At this point, it's just because I'm being stubborn. But I do like their salads, and I do like their chicken sandwich, especially their spicy one. And last night when I couldn't finish it, I was just really confused. And then tonight I made these Asian, I don't know, I guess it's a fusion thing. This was a HelloFresh. This was not my recipe, but they were Asian pork tacos. And I've had these before from HelloFresh. I've liked them. They're not spicy at all. They just have a really strong, sweet and what's the word? It's got a sweet soy glaze, so they're sweet salty kind of combo on them. And then it's got a homemade pickled, words are not working right now, coleslaw on it. And this is a dish that I've ordered from HelloFresh before, and I've liked it because I ordered it again. And tonight I was sitting there, I was eating these tacos, and I'm like, these are too flavorful. I don't know why, but these tacos are too flavorful. And my teenager looks at me and he's like, Mom, I think you're just like, your sensory has been so maxed out this week that you don't have any extra brain processing for food this week. And when he said that, I'm like, that makes so much sense. So, because I was worried because I like spicy food and I was sad that like all of a sudden I wasn't able to eat these spicy foods. So now I'm curious, like once things level out and I don't feel so overstimulated by other things like bright lights, sounds from driving, like just being in the car, even though I have a fairly new van, it's like 6 years old. It's not like you still hear road noises when you're driving. It's like this roar. So between the lights, the heat, the sounds, I think my brain was just like, we're not seeking out any extra sensory input this week. We need bland foods. So I didn't cook spicy, but this was still super intensely flavored. So I think tomorrow I'm going to just try to eat some pretty like low-key, mild foods, because tomorrow's also going to be another really busy day. Hopefully this weekend I'm going to have some like downtime to kind of recoup from this week that's just been a very long this has been a very kid-focused week. You know, I know my other followers out there that are moms understand that some weeks are just centered around your child or your children, and that's okay. And that's what this week has been. But I'm very tired. I'm very, like, even right now, like, I don't know if y'all can tell in this video, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. And it's not even that I'm sleepy. It's just that, like, even the light in this room, which, because I opened up my shade right now to film this video, it's just too bright right now. Like, I need, I don't know if you've heard of autistic people who hate the overhead lights. Some days I need a lot of bright light. Like, that's another time where I can actually be sensory seeker. I need bright lights. But today it's like, I want the overhead light off. I want my windows closed. I just want to be sitting in a dark room with quiet, no noises. Like, I need to kind of sensory bubble, which I will be doing after I filmed this. But y'all know I like to vlog kind of things as I discover them and share them. But I do plan on having some self-care moments. I have that scheduled in some time tonight to sit in the just quiet dark before bedtime tonight. So I'm curious that for anybody else, if you've noticed that you have had so much sensory in other places that it affects something that was kind of unrelated, like, you know, the heat, the bright lights, all of that is affecting my food. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, that's too much sensory input. I need bland, when normally that's like an opposite for me. I'm just curious who else has had this. And also my idea about it when it happened, I was like, I wonder if this has happened before, because now that I've kind of had this aha moment, I'm like, there have been times before where I've all of a sudden like, oh, I don't like spicy food. And I was like, well, that's weird because I love spicy food. But then it came back and I'm like, okay, I can eat spicy food again. And I never tied it to this whole sensory situation. So now that I have, again, it's one thing I love about unmasking my autism is having more awareness. I can plan for it better. I won't maybe struggle with food. Like, I'm not going to cook a spicy food if I know that I'm having a really busy, overwhelming week. And I can kind of take care of myself better that way. So it's like, we don't need extra sensory input when there's things that we can't control. So we want to take time to control the things that we can to help sort of regulate and balance just a little bit. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you, and until the next video, bye.